Gemma 3, the newest and greatest open large language model released by Google. It is open, which means you can download the model and run it in your environment and build commercial and non-commercial products around that. In this video, I want to show you how quickly you can start interacting with the model and prototyping using cloud infrastructure. So you can focus on developing your solution and think about how to host that and how to efficiently run that and scale that in the future. Let's start on prototyping. So, the simplest way to start interacting with the model is actually navigate to aistudio.google.com. In AI Studio, you have to log in with your Google credentials, for instance, Gmail, and select the proper model from the top. In this case, let's go with Gemma 327B, which is the largest from Gemma family, and start typing. And if you've got your perfect a special prompt you use to validate if the model is good or bad, that's the way to do it. By the way, I strongly encourage you to make sure you choose correct model for your use case, not validate all the models with some magic prompts. Anyways, that's a great way to start interact with the model. But if you want to build a solution around that, I would propose something else. For that, I have prepared Colab notebook where we can easily and completely for free spin up virtual environment with GPU enabled backend and start prototyping. And stay tuned for another 6, maybe 7 minutes of your time. I will show you my GitHub repository with Colab notebook. You can download, you can use, and give you a step-by-step instruction how to start prototyping using also multimodality functionality, so sending not only text to the model but also images. Okay, let's start by navigating to my GitHub repository where I prepared a Gemma 3 Colab notebook, and that's the one we are going to use today. The link you can find in the description of this video. There's a handy open in Colab button. Let me first open that in the incognito mode so you can see. If you see the sign in button on top right, use your Google account, it might be your Gmail account, to log in. And everything we are going to use can be used completely for free with free tier, right? You can also change the theme to light or dark, whatever you prefer, doesn't really matter. And let me reopen the Colab in my environment when I'm already logged in. And we are almost ready to start. The first thing we have to do is to check if the runtime we are going to use in Colab enables GPU. So on top right corner you can click change runtime type, and make sure you've got T4 GPU enabled setup with Python 3. And once this is done, now we can either run those commands or use file and save a copy in drive. This option gives you the possibility to modify the Colab, add different prompts, change the code and save your changes, right? So in this case, let me make my own copy so I can modify that and make sure my changes are also saved. For example, if I want to play with that or continue working with that in the future. So first we've got the definition or the explanation how to make sure the runtime is correct. And once we execute the first cell, we can see that Colab is actually making connection to a virtual machine in the background. So everything runs on some external virtual machine. We don't have to worry about that. And the first command to install PCI utils took 51 seconds. I increased the speed of the video a little bit. So as you can already see, I'm going to use Ollama in this case. It's not the only way you can run Gemma 3 on Colab, but I like it because I think it's quite efficient, and later on it's easy to do something similar on your own laptop or different machine. So we can choose a different model. In this case, I'm going to use Gemma 3 for billion parameters, which is great in terms of ratio, size, speed and quality, but there are different sizes as well, right? So I want to show you can definitely check out different tags for Gemma 3 on Ollama library and choose something else. However, 4 billion parameters works really well with this GPU. It's very efficient and it already is multimodal, so we can analyze also images, which we are definitely going to do later on. This command will download the model. It's less than 4 gigabytes in size, so it will take around a minute to download. Once it's executed, we can initialize Ollama client in Python and start our first simple query to the model. So in this case, write me a short joke, and we should see the response on the screen within a couple of seconds. And we've got our joke. It might not be the best joke in the world, but it is what it is, right? It's the answer from large language model. So we can definitely play around and change the prompt. In this case, let's ask, is Ollama awesome? And apparently it's not a very easy answer. It's not a very easy question. It's not a very short answer to that question. So Ollama goes, or actually Gemma 3 goes quite deep into giving us very detailed answer. That's why it takes a bit longer to see the response, because look at the amount of text that was produced. In this simple query, we are waiting for the model to produce the full answer before we see anything on the screen, which might be okay, right? That might be something we are looking for, but there are other options. For example, we can use streaming. With streaming, the answer will come on our screen partially at the moment when it is being ready, right? So let's ask the same query, is Ollama awesome? And the change the code is very small. We add stream to true, and we are making sure that we are printing all the chunks. And at the end, we are also saving the full response to something called full response. So once hit play, you can see the experience is much better, right? Because we see the answer being generated in front of us, on our eyes, right? We don't have to wait 15 seconds for the full answer. We see it being generated right away. Okay, so as I said, we also save the answer to something called full answer. And for that, I just want to show you the same answer using Markdown, because it is being formatted in the Markdown. It looks just nicer. Definitely go out and play around with that. And as I mentioned previously, Gemma 3 for billion parameters is multimodal. So let me download example image of the pool table with some pool balls on the table. As you can see, it is being downloaded to that machine, because that machine actually hosts our model. And let's also send the query to Gemma 3 asking tell me what you see, and making sure that we are also sending the image in the prompt, right? So yeah, let's execute that and see what will happen. And within a few seconds, we've got a very nice detailed explanation or description of the image. Perfect. So you can definitely go around and play further on. So let me try to upload another image, this time from my laptop. It's called miasta.png, which means cities.png in English. Let me display the image for our benefit. It's just a simple graph with 3 Polish images and sizes of that in terms of number of citizens, right? So Warsaw, Krakow and Bydgoszcz, the biggest, average and quite small. And we can take the, let me borrow the few lines of code and send another query to the model. Tell me what you see in English, because the image is in Polish and we want to have English answer. And let's make sure we are sending the correct image. So in this case, miasta.png, and we can see a nice English explanation of the image with proper understanding of the graph. And I think it's quite impressive, especially looking at the 4 billion parameters size of the model, which is really, really not that big. So definitely go ahead and play with that on your own. You can use what's next section with some of the very useful links. Definitely check out Gemma cookbook with all the other notebooks and tutorials and examples. And make sure to give a start to my repository if you like the sheet or the notebook that I prepared for you. Alright, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.